How many times have you sworn to break a pattern, only to find yourself living it out again? And maybe in an entirely new way. If you've been around Mind Love a while, you know my story. But for those who are new, here's the quick version. I was deep in bulimia, drinking too much, doing party drugs. I was really doing anything to not feel my feelings. I was spiraling without intention, numbing myself in any way that I could. And it all led to rock bottom, a jail cell and a felony charge for crimes that I didn't even commit, thanks to the wrong relationship at the wrong time. Stick around long enough and you'll hear that whole wild story unfold, so you might want to hit subscribe now. Trust me, it's the good kind of binge-worthy. But sitting in that cell, I finally saw what I was doing. I wasn't just hurting myself. I was playing out the same old stories that had been running in my family for generations. And I'm not gonna lie and say that that was my magical turning point. Yeah, I had the realization. Then I forgot about it for a while. I stopped some patterns, I kept others. I stumbled my way through breaking all the addictions. But there was this knowing that kept growing stronger and stronger. And once I saw this truth, I really couldn't unsee it. Quick note, I recorded this episode while I was pregnant earlier this year. Then life took a turn with my second miscarriage of the year. If you want that story, go to episode 369. But I'm pretty sure I mention it in this interview because I recorded it a while ago. So just throwing it out there, I am not currently pregnant as of the recording of this intro. Anyways, back to the point of the episode. Look, my family tree is complicated. My dad's side has seen the kind of trauma that changes lives forever. And my mom's side is a different story, but kind of the same ending. There's this thread of addiction and feeling stuck, and this way of moving through life without ever really knowing your own power. And so there I was, living out both sides of that story without even realizing it. And here's the wild part. We walk around thinking that we're in control of our choices. But what if those big decisions about money and relationships, how much you think you're worth, what if those were actually decided by old family wounds that you don't even remember? Or from the way your 6-year-old self interpreted the world? Let me give you some science to back this up. Research shows that 95% of what we do every single day comes from our subconscious mind. Think about that. While you're over here setting goals and making vision boards, yeah, I've been there too, and I go there often. Your subconscious is running the show based on programs that it picked up years ago, or maybe even lifetimes ago if you believe in that sort of thing. But listen, and this is the part that changed everything for me. These patterns are not permanent. The cycle can stop with you, not through forcing yourself to think positive or trying to white knuckle your way through change. Trust me, I tried all of that. But it's about actually rewiring your brain's response to those old memories. I love my family. I am in awe of how far they've come. But I made a choice to be the one who says, this is where things change. And not just for me, but for everyone who comes after me. Today, our guest is Shelly Lefkoe, co-founder of the Lefkoe Institute. She's helped over 30,000 people break free from long-standing patterns like procrastination, fear, relationship issues, all by going straight to the root cause, their limiting beliefs. And here's what's wild. She can help eliminate these beliefs in just hours. And I know that sounds too good to be true, but her work has been validated by independent research from the University of Arizona and published in peer-reviewed journals. So here's what we'll learn today. The crucial difference between beliefs and patterns, and why most people get stuck working on the wrong one. How to eliminate limiting beliefs in hours instead of years, validated by research. And the surprising truth about how childhood experiences create your adult survival strategies, and how to finally break free from them. Let me ask you something. How much time did you spend last week thinking about what to eat? Planning meals, making grocery lists, wandering around the store like a lost tourist. I used to waste entire Sunday afternoons on this, and it was exhausting. Then I found Hungry Root. Hungry Root fills your cart with personalized picks and plans your week of meals, getting smarter with every order. They have over 15,000 recipes to choose from each week, and most are ready in 15 minutes or less. I'm actually headed to Michigan this week, and I had my Hungry Root order delivered there. So I already know that I have meals ready and plenty of snacks for the kids without scrambling to find a grocery store. It's just handled. And what I love most is their smart cart technology. It learns what I actually like and then recommends groceries, recipes, and supplements just for me. So no more buying spinach that rots in my fridge. They screen out over 200 additives and only source high quality ingredients. The time I've gotten back has just been life-changing. So take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/mindlove and use code MINDLOVE. That's hungryroot.com/mindlove, code MINDLOVE, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/mindlove, code MINDLOVE. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You guys, workplace stress is killing us. 61% of people are dealing with stress levels that are way beyond normal. So if you're feeling it, you are not alone. I used to think I could just push through everything, work harder, sleep less, pretend I had it all figured out. But that approach nearly broke me. I am all about following your joy. If that voice in your head is telling you to make a change, listen to it. Maybe you are ready to quit your job. Maybe you do need to flip your whole life upside down. But either way, you need support and tools to navigate it well. And that's where therapy comes in. Modern therapy teaches you how to set boundaries without feeling guilty, how to manage anxiety before it spirals, how to make big moves from a place of strength instead of desperation. And BetterHelp has over 30,000 therapists and has helped 5 million people worldwide. And you can talk to someone from your couch. No waiting rooms, no awkward scheduling. Therapy gives you the clarity on whether that voice telling you to make a change is your intuition or just the Sunday scaries. But either way, you deserve support. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/mindlove. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/mindlove.
Beliefs are formed in the past. Meaning is formed in the moment. The meaning you give events often come from our beliefs. All of your emotions come from the meaning you give events. And if you just get the meaning is in your mind, it's not in the event, the emotion will go away. Then you can handle it, don't handle it, do something, don't do something. That's up to you, but you're not operating out of an upset. Ultimately, you want to eliminate the beliefs because the beliefs are causing you to keep giving that meaning.
Turn up your frequency with Mind Love. Bite-sized brain hacks for seekers, dreamers, and doers. It's time to give your mind a little love with your host, Melissa Monti.
What inspired you to devote so much of your life to understanding the beliefs that drive our behaviors?
Well, let's see. My late husband was on what he called a spiritual intellectual journey to discover why people know what to do and don't do it, and know what not to do and do it. So we all know if we eat well and we exercise, we will probably have a better quality of life and maybe even live longer. And a lot of us don't do it and don't do it consistently. We know kind of going into a relationship that something's wrong and we go in and stay in. So there are many, many things that we do like that and don't do. So he went on this journey and he was on a plane going to California, and we were both very interested and involved in personal growth. And he downloaded this process and he came home and he said, "Shell, I have to show you what came through me." And he sat down with someone who said that she wanted a relationship, a friend of ours. She wanted a relationship, but she kept meeting terrible men and not committed and blah, 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 blah. And he did the process on her that he created And then this was 35 years ago, Melissa, when nobody was talking about beliefs. When I said to people I'm in the belief business, they said, you mean like religious beliefs? Like, what do you mean beliefs? Now, today, everybody's talking about beliefs because people know that you can't make change without eliminating beliefs. So I watched him do this process, and I cry every time I talk about it. It was like spirit knocked me off my chair in a way that had never happened before or after. And this voice said, this is what you are here to do. And I've been doing it for 35 years. And what inspires me is seeing real change in people, freedom, self-expression, having a quality of life that they would have never had before. When I work with young people, not children, but people in their late teens or 20s, and I know their entire life is going to be different. And my dream is for people to be their true, authentic selves and to express themselves in their work, in their family life, in every aspect of their life. To have, my book, Hitting the Wall, is about watering all the plants. So if you're a workaholic, your relationships might be suffering. If you're an athlete and you only focus on your sport, then what's the rest of your life look like? So it's looking at your life and having every plant be vibrant and alive. That inspires me.
When you first started to really have that aha moment about, wow, it's the beliefs that are really creating how our lives turn out and what we're able to do, a lot of times when we have those realizations, we start on ourselves. What were some of the things that you were like, okay, now what's going on with me? Which things did you notice and which beliefs changed?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that. So there are a lot of things, but mostly I noticed that I can do a lot of things, and I had a very full, wonderful life. And I was in my 30s, around 40, when Morty created the process. And I started looking at how I never went to the top. I never kind of went all the way. And I had a belief, which I talk about in the book, that it's not okay to be special. So when I went on TV, when I was a little girl, my mom was afraid that I was going to become one of these spoiled brats. So she used to say to me, just remember, you're not special. You're not special. Now, she was a very, very, very loving mom. And that, I'll tell you the second one, I'll tell you 3 beliefs that I had. And I concluded it's not okay to be special. So I never let myself get to that, pinnacle of success, so to speak. And when I eliminated that belief, it was very freeing, because when my husband died, I had to take over the business. And, so that was good. The other thing was I had a mom who loved me so much that she used to do everything for me. And I noticed that there were a lot of things that came easily to me, but when something came hard, I didn't do it. I staffed it out. I asked a friend, and one day I asked my girlfriend how she learned PowerPoint. And she said, I got on and I failed and failed and I failed and failed and failed until I got it. And I thought, I must have a belief. And the belief I had, and it was interesting because when my late husband did the process with me, he said, say I'm not capable. And my first thought was, that's ridiculous. I've traveled the world by myself. I lived alone in New York City for 7 years. And And then he said, just say it. And I said, I'm not capable. And tears sprung to my eyes. And that's what I had concluded, but it didn't come out because I can do a lot of things well. So that was a very powerful belief for me. The other thing was I had a mom who didn't really care about my achievements like a lot of parents do. She wanted me to be included, invited, and loved and popular. So I had a belief, which is very, very common, not from that source, but a lot of parents worry about what people will think. Later we'll get into how beliefs get formed. And I had the belief, what makes me good enough is having other people think well of me. So I would call friends and say, what are you wearing to the party? It wasn't, what do I feel like wearing? I would walk away from conversations going, did I say the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Does she like me? Does he like me? I could have 100 friends and 99 love me and one is mad at me, and that would tank my life. If I wasn't invited to a party, it was devastating. And as I say this, Melissa, I can barely remember it because it was so long ago. But when I eliminated the belief, what makes me good enough is having other people think well of me. In that moment, I became my authentic self. I speak in front of 600 people. They're going to like me. They're not going to like me. I'm going to be there to make a difference. So when you get rid of that belief, your focus isn't on you because you're okay. Your focus is on who you're serving. And that's what I'm here to do. So that was a great belief.
It's so powerful when you start to really see, and sometimes it almost feels too simple. When I first started going to belief work, I remember somebody said, well, try to identify the first time you felt that way. And for some reason, it's like we want something to be really, really complicated to be able to like trace it back. And it's like, really, that moment when I was 11, when that kid said that thing, that has been running my life this whole time. Yeah. And I decided to just trust that was the origin and kind of work through it and rewire. And the changes I found in short periods of time, sometimes even just with the awareness, because then I can stop it in its tracks, is just really, really profound. But what I find difficult is the initial process of figuring out which limiting beliefs even exist. Like those things start going so much into the background or just becoming so much of our usual and just the way things are for us. And so it's not popping out as out of the ordinary. How do you recommend that people start to identify which are their most damaging limiting beliefs to begin working on? I was just talking to a friend who's been trying to hire someone for 3 months. 3 months. She's been posting on random job boards, scrolling through resumes that make no sense, getting ghosted by candidates. It's a mess. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the very top of the page for your relevant candidates so that you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it just makes hiring so fast because you're not wasting time on platforms where nobody's actually looking. Your job gets in front of real candidates who are actively searching. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/mindlove. Just go to Indeed.com/mindlove right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/mindlove. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. How do you recommend that people start to identify which are their most damaging limiting beliefs to begin working on?
Yeah. So I'm going to unpack some things that you said. So you may be one of these extraordinary people that's able to have an awareness and get rid of beliefs. So in 35 years, that's not been my experience for most people. So I have clients in every country around the world. We have a product that has 19 of the most common self-esteem beliefs, and people have trouble getting through that. And it's sometimes, and then when they do get through it, the belief goes away. So I don't want to kind of have people think, oh, I could just get rid of my beliefs by, just having an awareness. And I'm going to tell you the reason why that is, why most people can't do that. In terms of your question, so I'm going to make a couple of distinctions because, again, there's a lot of belief talk out there, and I see things that can be very misleading because most people don't know the difference between a belief and a pattern. So a pattern is what you want to get rid of, okay? I can't lose weight is a pattern. You may conclude that after not being able to lose weight, but that's not a belief you want to get rid of. It's until you get rid of others, right? So a pattern is observable. I can see you procrastinate. I can see you have anxiety. I can see you up on stage looking like you have a fear of public speaking. I can see you be depressed. So there's behavioral patterns, things you do that you don't want to do, things you don't want to do that you do, things you have you don't want to have, things you don't have that you want to have. Those are behavioral patterns. See, nobody cares about beliefs. Getting rid of beliefs are a means to an end. We want to get rid of patterns. So emotional patterns are anxiety, depression. I feel fear all the time. Those are and then there's reality patterns. I do the right things and nothing ever turns out for me. Okay, so there's three kinds of patterns. A belief is a statement about reality that we hold as the truth. That's what a belief is. Most of our beliefs are unconscious. We don't even know we have them. So we have trainings to train people how to know what beliefs cause what problems. Now, for the sake of the conversation, you can ask yourself, what might someone else believe? So if my boss says I have to be innovative and I'm scared to death, I can't be innovative, I just keep doing what I did yesterday. What must I believe that has me so scared to be innovative? I must believe mistakes and failures are bad. Or if I make a mistake, I'll be rejected. What does the little voice say when you say, okay, I'm putting this video on YouTube? What's the little voice, or on Instagram? What does the little voice in your head say? Oh, what if it's not perfect? What if people don't like it? What if nobody likes it? And then answer the question, what if? What does it mean that? And then you can surface beliefs. Now, I'm going to tell you, this may or may not make sense. I'll explain it as best I can. But when you do the process and you do this step, a belief that you've held your entire life will go away. And you'll understand why in a minute. We think we see our beliefs in the world. So if you and I were talking, Melissa, and somebody walked by, and your friend walked by, and you believed that she didn't like you, and she doesn't know, wouldn't you say to me, see, Shell, I told you she doesn't like me? Yeah. Right? It's as if you could see she doesn't like me, but you can't. All you saw was her walk by and not say hello. So anything you could see has a color, a shape, and a location. We believe in Santa Claus for 8 years. And one day you say, wait, that's my father in a red costume with a white beard. There's no Santa Claus. I made that up. The belief goes away and never comes back. So when I work with people who have procrastination, first belief is I'm not good. First belief for any pattern pretty much is I'm not good enough, right? Everybody listening, take a deep breath. I want you to say out loud, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
Now say, I'm a monkey.
I'm a monkey.
So when you said I'm a monkey, how does that feel?
It's like I'm talking to my toddler.
Silly, right? When you said I'm not good enough, did it feel the same or different?
I almost cried.
Yeah. So the first way we know we have a belief is it doesn't feel good when we say it. Because if we didn't believe it, it would be just words, which is what happens after the belief goes away. I have people, there's a belief, Melissa, called I'm not worth loving. It is the only belief that when I say to somebody, say I'm not worth loving, they either look at me like a deer in the headlights or they say it and they cry. After the belief goes away, I say I'm not worth loving. And they look at me and go, I'm not worth loving. That's ridiculous. Now, it's not it's not an awareness. It's not an intellectual aha. It's when you go back to childhood, which is where our beliefs get formed mostly, and you can see parents not giving you affection. So I'm watching this video. Nobody's kissing this child. Nobody's saying, I love you. Nobody's hugging her. That's seeable. But you cannot see, I'm not worth loving. That's in your mind.
I was scanning through some of the beliefs that I've worked through, and you're right, where most of them are things that I still have to be on top of today. I haven't cleared.
Yes.
There was one that I felt like I cleared almost immediately. And that's the one that comes to mind because it was the first one where I was intentionally doing limiting beliefs work. And it was around ADHD. I've always had ADHD, but I've always been an overachiever. I liked learning. I was very competitive. So I didn't have a lot of the negative effects of school. I could just easily ace all my stuff, but I would be doing my homework in class and not paying attention. Like I just had a different pattern of distraction. And I realized later on in life that my dad had ADHD and he just never learned to manage it. And he was just kind of all over the place. He was always starting things and stopping it. And when he died, it was about 5 years after he died, and I was realizing what beliefs, what patterns I had, and trying to reverse engineer. And one of the big ones was when I was working towards launching Mind Love, it was that I was too ADHD to finish anything. And then I thought, wait, when did that even start? And I realized it only started after my dad died. Now, mind you, that was right around the time that I went to college. I was suddenly in charge of my own activities. I had to get my own job, like in things that didn't interest me rather than just competing in school. And that was one that was like the moment I saw it, the very next project I did, I completed, and I've completed everything since. And so is it because, or is there maybe not a reason? I almost wondered, was that one easier because I adopted it at the point of his death and it wasn't from childhood? Is that why that one could maybe fall away so easily?
I don't know. And I will tell you, you can eliminate a belief tripping on a rock. And you might have said, you know what? I never saw that. That's not true. You know, it's it's like what you, and I love your honesty, and that was stunning what you said, that the beliefs that you have, you still have to manage. When you do this process, and I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to do it for free. I have a link for you and all that. But when you do this process, the belief is gone and it never comes back. And the answer to your question is, as long as you think you saw your belief, you will not get rid of it, because you cannot. It is impossible to not believe something you think you saw. I had a client who had a fear of public speaking, and that's one of the easiest patterns for us to get rid of, because we know exactly what the beliefs are. It's the same. I have clients in Uganda. I have a client now in Saudi Arabia. Everybody has the same beliefs, but there's different beliefs under different patterns, except fear of public speaking. That's the only one. Everybody has the same beliefs. So this guy had, one of the beliefs is, if I make a mistake or fail, I will be rejected. When he was a child, so first of all, let me back up for a second. We come into this world as a little ball of consciousness. We don't know if we're good enough or not good enough. We don't know if we're important or not. We don't know if money is scarce and hard to get, or it flows with great abundance. And you said you have a toddler?
Two of them.
Twins, and you're pregnant?
No, I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Okay. I bow to you. Okay. So when you come in at the end of the day, and I'm going to go back to the story with this guy. When you come in at the end of the day, what does your 3-year-old do when he or she sees you?
Mama! And then they run and give us.
They run. I have asked that question to my client in Uganda said they run to me. Is it a he or she?
Both boys, yeah.
Both boys. Okay. What is he, the 3-year-old? What does he want when he sees you?
Physically, a lot of times it looks like a hug. Sometimes he just runs over and grabs me, but I really think it's just a moment of connection.
Right. So he wants a hug. So we're going to start with affection. What's the second thing? What does he want? He hasn't seen you all day. What does he want?
Attention.
Attention. Every child alive wants 3 things: affection, attention, and acknowledgement. What is the one-word question he asks all day long?
Why?
Why? Now, that all came from you. None of it came from me. And Melissa and I did not plan this before the podcast, right? So every kid wants affection. This is why I created a parenting course. Every kid wants affection, attention, and acknowledgement. And the one-word question they ask is why? So why can't I live up to my parents' expectations? Why are they so mad at me? Why can't I do things the way they want? Oh, I guess I'm not good. Let me rephrase that. Oh, I see. I'm not good enough. So this is going to be a hot button, everybody. Why is mommy looking at her iPhone while she's talking to me? I guess I'm not important. I guess what I have to say is not important. And because they think they're seeing that, they're not seeing you on your iPhone, they're seeing I'm not important, that belief gets locked in. Okay? So my parents are struggling with money. Oh, I guess money is scarce and hard to get. My father works hard. He's never home. He's always working. Well, I guess you have to work hard to be successful. And now you've got people who have passive income, like me, who makes money in my sleep, and you do not have to work hard to be successful. That's not true. But a lot of people have that belief, and no amount of evidence gets rid of our beliefs. And I'll tell you a great story about that. So here's this guy. And every time he, quote unquote, makes a mistake or fails to do what his father wants, his father stops talking to him for days. So he concludes, if I make a mistake or fail, I will be rejected. So I go through the steps of the process with him, which is what happened, where did the belief get formed? And he tells me, and I say, what's some other interpretations? Well, maybe that was true with my father. Maybe it was true when I was a child. Maybe he wasn't really rejecting me. He was just not talking to me. And so we look at alternative interpretations. And then I say, doesn't it seem like you saw, if I make a mistake or fail, I'll be rejected? And he said, I did see it. I saw it every day of my life. And I said, yeah, but did you really see that? Does that have a color, shape, or location? And he's fighting with me. Yes, I saw it, but I did see it. But I said, okay, let's breathe. And he goes, okay. I said, you saw your father stop talking to you when you didn't do what he wanted. That's seeable. Everybody watching a video can see that. But where was, if I make a mistake or fail, I will be rejected? And he says, I made that up. That was in my mind. Okay. Now, there's a second piece, which if we have time, I will teach you, which is mind-bogglingly powerful. So he gets rid of the belief, and the next day, and he's a fear of public speaking client. Next day, he goes in, and I wasn't going to tell the whole story, but it's such a good story. He is doing a presentation. He makes a mistake, and somebody points out what he said was wrong. And he says, oh, what's the right answer? And the guy tells him, and he turns around and he says, Charlie, can you repeat that? Everybody listen up. What I just said was wrong. What Charlie said was right. Charlie, thank you for speaking up. I wouldn't have wanted anybody to walk out of here with the wrong information. So he's walking back to his office. He says, I felt like the shit, because I told him a story about my daughter crossing the finish line at the half Ironman saying, I am the shit. I'm walking to my office. I feel like the shit. He goes, and I walk in, Shelly, and the phone is ringing. It was the executive vice president of his company. He says, I was in the room when you made that mistake. He said, I was so impressed with how you handled it. I'm putting you up for a promotion. He said, not only didn't I get rejected, I got promoted. It was a great story. Yeah. I'll say one last thing. My favorite my favorite people to work with are sexual abuse victims. Because when you go back to I'm powerless, I'm damaged goods, I'm not good enough, no one would want me, all those beliefs can be eliminated. And there's a step in the process. Whoops. Sorry.
I cry on the podcast all the time. It's
Oh, good. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I got so scared.
I mean, not every episode, but when it gets me like some of those words and calls to my demographic, and I know a lot of people in the audience, most women I know, you can just feel it, and I don't know how to do a good podcast interview without opening my heart and just being in the moment. So I allow the tears when they come.
And that's why you're in the top percent of podcasters, because you are awesome. So thank you. I just had this thought. I want to come back on and take everybody through the process, including you, of course. But when you go back and you look at other interpretations and you do this process, and then you get, I never saw any of those, just go any of those beliefs. You do each one separately. I saw what happened to me. Right. And I get very specific with, not very specific, but specific enough. And what happens is you stop identifying yourself by something that happened to you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. All right, let's do it. Let's go deep. Okay. So I want everybody listening to imagine you're in a room and somebody you know comes in and doesn't say hello to you. What might you automatically think?
That they are mad at me, that they don't like me. I
Right.
usually think mad, like did I do something? And I start scanning all my behaviors.
Right. So everybody listening said different things. So some of you said, they're mad at me. They don't like me. They're rude. Somebody might say, they're distracted. Something's up with them. Something's up, whatever you just said, they're rude, is meaning. Where did that meaning, Melissa, that they don't like me or they're mad at me, where did that meaning come from?
Both my parents,
Nope.
the silent treatment. No, that's
Nope.
what I would assume.
Where did it come from?
Oh, I created the meaning.
Good. From where?
Past experience?
No.
No, still
Nope.
no. Okay.
Not no, but that's not where meaning comes from. So it's not that what you said is inaccurate. It's just not where meaning comes from. So meaning, where's the thought? They don't like me. Right. Exactly. All meaning comes from your brain, your mind. Okay. So this is going to get very provocative, everybody. If meaning is in your mind, do events have inherent meaning?
No.
No.
Events do not have inherent meaning.
Right.
I can somehow teach that, yet when it comes to my own beliefs,
Awesome.
like, oh, it's them. It came from them.
Awesome. So I'm going to let me make a quick distinction. Beliefs are formed in the past. Meaning is formed in the moment. Okay, you with me? Beliefs are formed in the past. Meaning is formed in the moment. The meaning you give events often come from our beliefs. So if you believe people can't be trusted and you see somebody talking to your friend, you might go, you'll give it the meaning, oh, they're talking about me, right?
Yeah.
If a dog is coming at you and you believe dogs are dangerous, you're going to give it the meaning that dog's going to bite me, right?
Yes.
So now here's what I want you, because this is a takeaway, right? Beliefs, you have to either do natural confidence or see me or go see whoever, but this is a takeaway. And I'm going to explain events have no meaning because Melissa got it very fast and knows that. Most people don't. Most people's heads explode when I say that. So all of your emotions come from the meaning you give events. So my husband died. We were married 35 years. He was an angel in every way, okay? It was devastating when he died. There were consequences. I had to take on running a business. I never wanted to do that. I'm not good at that. I don't like it, but that's what, so I'm not, the consequences, I don't have him in my life. So I'm not minimizing anything that happens to you. But the fact that he died has no meaning. So it's not that it doesn't matter. It's not that it's not a big deal. Here's another way of saying it. We don't know anything for sure because something happens. So grieving is healthy, and I grieved. But when I didn't want to get out of bed, that's not healthy. So I said, what happened? Now, here's the technique I'm going to teach you. What happened? My husband died. What meaning did I give it? I'm going to starve to death. I don't know how to run a business. He ran the business. I was the people person, right? What else could it mean? You come up with one other possible alternative interpretation. It could mean I'm going to learn and I'm going to step up, right? Which I did, and I have a thriving business. It's a miracle, but it is. But the fact that he died has no meaning. It doesn't tell. I don't know anything because he died. He just did. Next day, what happened? My husband died. What meaning did you give it that has you not want to get out of bed? I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. Well, it could mean that. And it could mean you got a whole second act, right? I mean, I took on pickleball. I play every day. I'm out. I have a very full life. I haven't met my next person yet, but that's in the works. But I may have a whole second act, right? But again, we don't know anything for sure because he died. So anytime you have a negative emotion, stop. I'm going to give you 2 ways to do it. Stop and ask yourself, what happened? What meaning did I give the events? Come up with one other possible meaning. I didn't get a raise. I'm never going to get a raise. Well, maybe, and maybe you will. Maybe you have to work for another company, or maybe they'll give it to you next quarter. I'm dating somebody and he didn't call. Oh, he didn't text. That's the best one. He didn't text. Oh God, he's not interested. What else could it mean? He's busy. Something came up. And if you just get the meaning is in your mind, it's not in the event, the emotion will go away. Then you can handle it, don't handle it, do something, don't do something. That's up to you, but you're not operating out of an upset. Ultimately, you want to eliminate the beliefs because the beliefs are causing you to keep giving that meaning, right?
Yeah.
Now, going back to things that happen to us, if you can get to that place, and again, we do it in a very gentle, loving, caring way, but that events have no meaning. What happened to you, but we don't know anything for sure because it happened. There's a release that is so huge because you become a human being who's going forward in life, and the past is no longer defining who you are. It's like workaholism. So what workaholism is the belief, I'm not good enough. Everybody has that belief, by the way. I'm not important. That's a little less common. It's the most common belief, but not everyone has it. Most people do because children don't get the attention they want. Now, we're going to talk about survival strategy beliefs. Now, when you talk about ADD, I sit here and go, maybe you have beliefs. So you said, I'm an overachiever. What do you have to believe to be an overachiever? What makes me good enough are my achievements, because all you got acknowledged for as a kid was grades and goals, right? So you can't see me, but I'm holding, unless you can, I'm holding up my fist, okay? So a belief is my fist. I'm not good enough. Oh man, I don't want to go through life with that sucker in my face. Boom. What makes me good enough is achieving things. Oh, now I got to hold this beach ball underwater. And that's what workaholism is. You have to keep achieving and achieving and achieving, because up in your face is I'm not good enough every time you don't. If you're the oldest of 10 or the oldest in a big family, what you got acknowledged for was taking care of the siblings. So now you believe what makes me good enough is taking care of people. So you become a caretaker or a nurse I ask my clients who are the oldest of 10, are you a nurse? And they go, how did you know? It's like not rocket science, right? Because you only feel good enough when you're taking care of people. What makes me good enough is having other people think well of me. Now you got to run around having everybody think well of you. But when you get rid of the when you get rid of the belief, and then you get rid of the survival strategy belief, you're free. Then you can choose, achieve, don't achieve.
I find this freeing because so often in the personal development field, I come across people that are in this sort of middle ground of feeling like they've made a lot of progress, but because they've tracked it back to certain things that happened in their childhood, it's hard not to have resentment for their caretakers in some way. And the emphasis that, or I should say, reminding people that it's not about that event. That was their own parents coping. It's actually about how you were interpreting that event. And that interpretation is subjective and could have nothing to do with the individual act of the parent. And I think that's just so important because, like I said, I went through a long period of time where I'm like, I mean, I know my parents were very loving, but I also know they didn't have a lot of tools. There wasn't the internet. They're not even, I mean, my dad was, but they're not really the kind of people to sit there and be like, well, let me figure out what's holding me back, And so I am both grateful to myself, but also spent a lot of time in why did you have to start me at such a baseline? Like, why couldn't you jumpstart a little bit? Why couldn't you have worked on this? And that is hard to get over. I think it's a period where people end up losing respect for their caretakers, even if they do end up forgiving. I've just spoken with a lot of people who have dealt with that, and I've worked through it myself. So that reminder that you actually created the meaning, And so I guess then the question is, once you realize, well, I created that meaning, how do you not, is there a reason to get to the bottom of, okay, well, why did I create that meaning instead of something else? Or
No. So first of all, anytime anybody says to me, Melissa,
I actually prefer Melissa. 3 syllables is too long.
No, I just feel very connected. Anytime anybody says to me, it's hard, that's a belief, right? Nothing has to be. And there are things, of course, in life that are, losing my husband was hard, but it is not hard to see. I'm not a big forgiveness person. Like my husband used to say, there's nothing to forgive. They couldn't do anything else given their beliefs, right? Like you just said, very insightfully. Why is everybody listen to this? This is very powerful. Why is when I say powerful, I mean useful. I like useful. I'm like, I'm a results girl. I want to see change. I like useful. I like things that you can actually use. I'm not going to ever tell you to stand in front of a mirror saying, I'm good enough. I'm good enough. It's not. Why is meaning? Meaning is made up. Even if you knew why, it's not usually powerful. So people sit in therapy and they go, I was molested as a kid. Oh, that's why I have sexual dysfunction. That makes so much sense. Now what? So we don't know why. And if we did, it wouldn't make a difference. A way more powerful question. And if you write this in little places in your underwear drawer, it will be very life-changing, I promise. What? What happened? What can I do about it? What might I believe? Where did that belief come from? How can I get rid of it? So what is a powerful question? Where, when, how, but not why. Okay? So when you look at, And I'll tell you two things, and trust me on this one, no matter what anybody else has told you in the past, okay? Underlying fear and resentment, I'm sorry, underlying anger first. Underlying anger, resentment is mild anger. Underlying anger is always powerlessness. Because if you could do something about something, you would do it. You wouldn't feel angry, you would just do it. We get angry because we feel powerless. So if you feel resentment, you feel powerless. And when you get rid of the belief I'm powerless, then you take a stand, like I did with my dad, and I'll tell you in a minute, and you can be efficacious. You can affect change, okay? When you're resentful and angry, that limits you, it cripples you, right? So underlying anger is powerlessness. Underlying fear is a real or imagined threat to your survival, period. So if anybody tells you anger's under fear or this is under fear, it's nonsense. And why I say that is when somebody has a gun pointed at you, you feel fear. There's a real or imagined threat to your survival. If they take the bullets out and you see it's a water gun, the fear goes away. So when the threat to survival goes away, the fear goes away. Okay? So when you asked me, how do you find beliefs? You have a fear of public speaking. I once asked my daughter, would you have a fear of public speaking? And she said, what? And I said, if there were 1,000 people in the room, would you feel fear? And she said, will they have weapons? Talking to people doesn't cause fear. There's no threat to your survival. But the beliefs, I'm not good enough. What I have to say is not important. What makes me good enough is having other people think well of me. We also work on emotions, fear of criticism and judgment, fear of not living up to an expectation, and fear of rejection. That's what you fear, not public speaking.
I recognize some of those that you mentioned being underlying fears of public speaking coming out in different ways. But for some reason, I am one of the rare beings who I get like a high going on stage. I'll be the first to volunteer. I just love it. Yeah. And everyone's like, how and why? This is one of the number one fears in the world. And I'm like, I don't know, honestly. And so how do you work with people, or do people need to know anything about maybe an underlying belief really affecting one area, like maybe their ability to go take risks or put their business out there, something like that, versus like, but then they're just fine in a totally other area that normally affects people? Is that just how we're processing things, or we don't give meaning in one area, but we do in another?
Yes. Yes. The thing that will supersede a belief, because you can't live inconsistent with your beliefs ever. You can do it for a while, but eventually they're going to get you, right? If you believe water's boiling, you're not going to put your hand in it. Our behavior is consistent with our beliefs. If you believe the balcony is going to crumble, you're not going to stand on it, right? So if you feel very confident in a certain area and you just know that's your dharma, that's your gift, your beliefs may not rear and probably won't rear their ugly head unless a younger person comes in or your job looks threatened in some way. If you, I think that's what I want to say. That if you feel very confident in a certain area, your beliefs may not impact you. But in the area where you don't, that's where they're going to rear their little ugly heads.
And that makes sense. And there's so much to work with, even just starting at identifying your patterns and then figuring out like, what meaning did I give this? So I'd love for you to just recap your process a little bit for the people who want to do a little bit of self-work.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a link, and it's eliminatebeliefs.com. And you can go and you can get rid of one of 3 beliefs, the most common beliefs people have. And it will take, I will do that. And when you go through it, it will take you through every step and you can eliminate a belief. I want to say one last thing before we end. It's the watering all the plants. So when you look at your life, and I love what you just said, Melissa, you look at your relationships and you go, are they vibrant? Do I have a vibrant sex life? I talk to people all the time who aren't having sex. And I go, what? Like, there's no side effects. It feels really good. It's a really good connection. You know, it's like, it's everything good. Like, why did, not why. What do you believe that has you not? So you look at your relationships and go, are my relationships deep and trusting and loving and vibrant? And then you look at your, recreational life. Am I doing things that I love? Am I dancing? Am I playing pickleball? Am I out there, doing whatever it is that I love doing? And then you look at your children. Am I being a conscious parent? Are my children happy and vibrant? And do they feel safe to be themselves? And then you look at your relationships, you look at money, is my money life vibrant and healthy? Do I feel fear around money? Do I feel tight around money? Right? When you look at these areas, it's not one belief. People think, oh, what's the belief that I have that makes me procrastinate? Very common pattern. It's not. So in Natural Confidence program, which is very inexpensive, we make it very affordable for people, who can't work with me or do our work. It is a fabulous program, and it takes you through 19 of the most common self-esteem beliefs that people have, right? I'm not good enough. I'm not important. I'm not worthy. I don't matter. Mistakes and failures are bad. If I make a mistake, I'll be rejected. All those self-esteem beliefs you can do using this product, and it takes you through in a video. Okay. People need more hand holding than that. That's not the way to go. Right. So what is the pattern, right? What do I want to change? What belief must I have? And then you say, what happened? Where did I first discover, not feel that way? You can say that, but where did I discover that? You weren't born with that belief. How do you know it's true? What's your earliest memories where you saw the belief? Then what are some other interpretations, right? So my parents criticized me all the time. Could mean I'm not good enough. Also could mean my parents were critical people. It could be that they thought I was so good that they thought I can do anything, and they were just shitty teachers. They didn't have parenting skills, like you said. They didn't know how to empower me, right? Maybe I wasn't good enough as a kid. Doesn't mean I'll never be good enough. Maybe I was good enough and I couldn't write well, or I couldn't score goals, but that doesn't mean I'm not good enough. Next. So if there are other valid interpretations, is what you said the truth or just one interpretation? It's just one interpretation. But doesn't it seem like you saw I'm not good enough? I did see it. Does I'm not good enough have a color, shape, and location? No. What did you see? I saw my parents criticize me. I saw not scoring goals. I saw not getting A's. Good. Where was I'm not good enough? That was in my mind. I made it up. Now, what does it really mean that you didn't score goals, didn't get A's, got criticized by your parents? Nothing. But doesn't it seem like those events made you feel not good enough? Yes. Can events that have no meaning make you feel anything? No. If an event has no meaning, it can't make you feel anything, right? You're walking down the street, a man walks past you, you give it no meaning, you don't feel anything. You give it the meaning, he's dangerous, you'll feel fear. You give it the meaning, he'll protect me, you'll feel safe. So events that have no meaning can't make you feel anything. So what made you feel not good enough? The meaning I gave the event. Now, close your eyes. Imagine Auntie Shelly is here. We have this conversation. You're good enough. Your parents have unrealistic expectations. And you go, oh, my parents have unrealistic expectations. They think children shouldn't spill, drop, or break things. They think children should get straight A's, even though they don't excel at everything. Oh. Imagine giving the same events that meaning. And as you imagine it, do you still feel not good enough? No. And if you didn't feel it then, would you feel it now? No. Take a deep breath, say the belief out loud, and it should be gone. And if it's not gone, go back to, did you ever see it? And remember, you can see your mother, your father doing, not doing, saying, not. I don't care if your parents said every day of your life, you're not good enough. You can see them say it, but you can't see that it's true.
I can feel that this is going to help just so many people in, reverse engineering some of the crap that we put ourselves through every single day over and over again, just reliving this random thing that we made up, whether we want to believe that or not. So for listeners that are loving this as much as I am and want to learn more about you, some of the courses that you mentioned, and also your book, where's the best place for them to connect?
Okay, so you can either go to eliminatebeliefs.com and eliminate a belief for free. You can go to Lefkoe, L-E-F as in Frank, K-O-E, Institute.com, and you can find out about, you can have a free strategy session and find out what it's about to actually work with me, if that interests you. And yeah, that's it. And you could read Hitting the Wall, my book.
All the links from this episode will be at mindlove.com/377. Your challenge for this week is to pick one area of your life, just one, where you feel stuck. Maybe it's your relationships or your career or even how you spend your free time. Then, instead of trying to fix the pattern, I want you to get curious about what belief might be driving it. For example, if you always end up in controlling relationships, maybe there's a belief that you're not capable of making good decisions. Write down that belief and then ask yourself, when did I decide that this was true? This simple exercise can start to unravel years of limiting patterns. So give it a try and let me know how it goes. You can reach out to me at mindlovemelissa on Instagram. You can also find all of my incredible sponsors at mindlove.com/sponsors. And speaking of transformation, I have something really, really special coming up that's going to bring super valuable insights that are usually reserved for my intimate coaching relationships. But I'm bringing it to all of you in my most accessible offer yet. More on that soon. This is a big part of my ultimate mission in the world, is to reach as many people as possible with all of the things that have really just changed my life. So if you're not on my email list, sign up for the Morning Mind Love at mindlove.com or text the word morning to 33777. Thanks for giving your mind a little love today, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning into Your Higher Frequency with Mind Love. Head to mindlove.com for a free gift to keep your vibes up until next week.